Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Fantasy Cares YouTube channel. And we are here today, Russ, John, to talk about the Fantasy Cares Eliminators and everything that goes into them, is about them, comes out of them. And I guess if there's anything in between all of that, we're going to go through that also. First, John, why don't you give us a little bit of a background on what the Fantasy Cares Eliminators are and how they came to be?
Sure. So long time ago, I think it started, I can look back. I should just do that and know the actual date because I'm going to be asked this question. Back in 2016, I had a podcast called Fantasy Insanity, and I wanted to do something just for the listeners and some of the guests and things like that. So I was looking through MFL and found this Eliminator League thing, and it sounded fun. Obviously, Fantasy Insanity was completely about like unique leagues and stuff like that. So I pulled together some of the most ardent listeners and some of the guests, and we did an Eliminator League. That was the podcast listener league for Fantasy Insanity, because obviously I couldn't do something just standard.
And that's what you want to do. You want to just alienate your listeners every week as they go. One of them we don't want you anymore. Goodbye.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun. And then 2016 was when I joined the fantasy football world, we'll call it, that was when I met Scott and everything. Started doing actual leagues like on Twitter, things like that. So then prior to 2017 kicking off, this was over the summer. I can remember I was down at the beach on vacation in Siesta Key, and I got a phone call. My phone rings from Scott Fish. I had only talked to him one time prior on the phone. Plenty of messages back and forth, Twitter, things like that. I'm like, oh crap, why is Scott calling me? The last time he called me, it was to ask me about a Devi nomination in a Capitalist Pigs League where I nominated a brick just to burn the Devi nomination and make it so there was less Devi players on the market. It did not go over well. It was not against the rules, though. Nonetheless, Scott remained friendly to me, at least. So that was my first Devi league, and I didn't realize that was extremely frowned upon. It was what it was. It's all right. Nonetheless, we had become pretty good friends because obviously we have we share a passion for unique leagues. And he was, starting to ramp up Fantasy Cares a little bit at that time. And he asked me, do you have any ideas on things we could do, like other kinds of leagues and stuff? And I said, yes, I do. I immediately wanted to do more of these. And right away, I was like, if we can get, a celebrity, air quotes, obviously this is YouTube, so you can actually see them now. It's weird. I don't have to say that I air quoted something. So I said, if we can get a celebrity to head up a league, and then have people sign up to play against them.
Do you remember who some of your celebrities were that first year?
Oh, I can give you the entire list. Well, before I get to that, though, the goal was to do 10 of them. I told Scott, let's do 10 of them. I can probably get $100 a league out of them, and we'll raise $1,000. And that was going to be awesome. Again, this was 6 years ago at this point, so it's amazing how far Fantasy Cares has come.
Oh yeah.
So my goal was to raise $1,000. I ended up doing way more than 10. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, about 30. Looks like about 30 leagues. We of the people that were the originals that are still around, Scott Barrett and Curtis Patrick. They still do one together. They always have. Mike Beers, even though he doesn't do as much in fantasy anymore, still does his Eliminator, and his group is hardcore. They have stuck together since that first year. I bet you at least 10 people are in his every year, the same people without adding anybody new. Sigmund Bloom was an immediate supporter. He did 2 of them that year, and he still does 2 of them to this day. Bob Long, awesome, continues to do it, and he helps give out Fantasy Expo tickets, Fantasy Football Expo tickets, to help us drive some signups. Plus, his league usually gets a little bonus. He writes a consistency guide that's pretty awesome that he hooks people up with, which is always very nice.
My first year of Eliminators, I was in his, and I got that consistency report. It was really good.
It
David
is.
Montgomery was extremely consistent, in that report.
Denny Carter, obviously, he's been a supporter since the beginning. He's been awesome. Matt Harmon, John Lobb, Liz Loza, fellow board member on Fantasy Cares. Tagliere, sadly. We do some now that literally just are for the benefit of Tag's family. But he was a huge supporter right at the beginning, which was awesome. Mike Wright of the Footballers, Ryan McDowell, of course, has been a huge supporter, and so is Scott. Nathan Powell continues to do it. Rich Dotson was an original and still remains. Nerd. Nick Whalen and Ghost, FF Ghost. So those were some of the original names that are still around.
The Orange Report too.
Yep.
I got one of those also. Yeah.
He usually helps people out with an Orange Report, so which is an awesome, another awesome publication. The people that do these things, they really do put in some pretty good work, and it is nice when they kick a little back. So that was the first year. We had, my goal was 10. We did about 30. Last year,
there you go. That was going to be my next question.
I think we got to about 150. Maybe I think it was a little over, like 156. I think was the number or something like that. It's a lot. Now, granted, I have had some massive assistance as this has grown. Scott built an amazing sign-up page to make it a heck of a lot easier. The back end of it for me is much more easy to organize, and that's why we can run so many. And then I've got a fantastic team to help me out these days as well. We've got you, Russ Fisher. We have Alan Hepworth, who does just an amazing amount of work. That man is a machine.
He's a grinder
at creating all these leagues, because all these leagues are run on My Fantasy League. That's the only platform that could host anything like this. So it makes it real easy because you can just duplicate the leagues, change some of the settings around for who's in it and stuff like that. But he does a ton. Matt Price, Bob Gilchrist, Justin Peak, Andrew Hall, and Commish Casey Simons. Everybody pitches in, everybody helps out. It is super great. It's the only reason that I can run so many of these leagues now. And then, of course, the celebrities that all jump in and are willing to help. Everybody that signs up and plays in all these leagues. Now we no longer have any required donation. It's all whatever people want to give. We do ask for, prefer to get donations for it. In the past, it used to be $10 per league, unless it was some special league, it was $20. But now that we're an official charity, everything's it's all completely voluntary. Again, we do prefer that people donate about $10.
We greatly appreciate.
Yes, but it's raised a lot, and I am overwhelmed every year by how much we can now raise for this. And I mean, it's grown to be something extremely fun. It's a nice little warm up as we get into SFB season and stuff, to start drafting with your celebrity friends and the folks you listen to on podcasts, things like that. And a lot of every league has a chat. It's a Twitter DM, and during the drafts, they're all extremely active. Throughout the season, you end up seeing some activity a lot of times, especially when the celebrity is eliminated. There's always mentions about that. And then there are literally some chats that never stop. Just never, ever, ever, ever stop. And they are still extremely active even today, from ones that were last year. So it's always fun to see. It's fun to see people put groups together and jump in the leagues and play in these. And it really is fun.
All right. So let's get into the league itself. Like you said, these are all run on myfantasyleague.com. And that is because they are the only site where this is actually doable. So details. So as you see on the screen, we have a certain someone's Eliminator put up on the screen. I won't name names. And there are 18 spots. Why are there 18 spots, John?
Because there are 17 weeks of meaningful football in an NFL football season. So every week the lowest scoring team is eliminated. So their team is just out. It's not a guillotine league. There's no waivers. So their roster doesn't get dropped and you can pick them up or anything like that. They're just straight up cut. They're out of the league. They have no chance to win once they're the lowest score. So you don't have to be the best until the final week. You just have to be not the worst each week. So as you go through, then finally in week 17, it's a head-to-head matchup for the title.
Right. So let's before I start complaining about how bad I am at these, why don't you give us all a little help coming into this season? And thankfully, I have to say, I had so many memes ready set up to tweet out about how confusing all of your scoring systems are. And then you come out and say, well, we're going back to normal this year. And I'm like, cool. I didn't just waste like 6 minutes making all of these. So why don't you go over the scoring and the little extra twists you did throw in there?
So for anybody that's played in these, yes, the scoring is typically unique.
Interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting, unique, call it what you will. Last year it was, we'll call it a different level of appreciation. There was a different level of appreciation for last year's scoring. Last year I messed around with things and went with efficiency scoring because I thought it'd be really, really fun. And it was. Thing is, it was fun for a year. So we got rid of basically volume. We took volume out of fantasy football, which volume is king in fantasy football. That's pretty much what
those Blake Bortles and Jameis Winstons and all of those guys where you're just like, oh, they're bad, but it doesn't matter. They're good for fantasy. They were not good for fantasy for these.
They were not. So it's not that volume is king. It's volume is king if the settings favor volume.
Yep. And so we're back to that. Thank you.
Yes, we did go back to that.
What do we have that is here? Let me just pull it up as you start telling me. What did you add in here that is your level of unique, even though you kept it pretty normal?
Yeah. So, I mean, we do still have like first down scoring, stuff like that. If you go ahead and hit become commissioner, you will be able to access all of this.
Don't tell me how to live my life, John. All right.
So while the scoring is, there's still fun scoring in it. I mean, we still have points per first down. We have some extra bonuses this year if you have long passing plays or rushing plays or receiving plays. Yep. So there are some big play bonuses. So it's not just standard scoring, of course, because that's just boring to me. I want to have a little something different in these leagues because nobody actually ends up caring if they win or lose. It's a fun way to experience unique scoring settings. Maybe you come across something that you like and you're like, oh, I want to put that in my leagues going forward. So things like first down scoring, Scott started that or Scott pushed that in the SFB a while back. And since then, I mean, more and more people just use it because it's more fun. So I also didn't want to stop there. Last year, I think it was last year, it could have been 2 years ago. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But Lindellians on Twitter, obviously big punter advocate. She started having punters in her eliminators. So they were unique to her eliminator. They are no longer unique to her eliminator. In 2023, every league is going to be allowed to draft and play punters. Here's the scoring for it. Russ has kindly put it up. Obviously, you get the same scoring if you actually score, you get those, but you also get points based on how they punt, what their average turns out to be at the end of the game for punting. Punts inside the 20, that's always nice, right? Oh, yeah. That's important. You don't want to get punts blocked. That's bad. If a punter makes a tackle, you gotta love that. You gotta love that. We have that for offensive players too. So if that quarterback throws an interception and they don't go Peyton Manning while they're watching the run back, they can get a point back for you. So you might lose those.
DK Metcalf tackle where he chased down Budda Baker, that should have been worth like 20 points.
Yes, that would have been a manual thing, and you know how I feel about manually adjusting things.
You love doing it, I know.
No, hard pass. So there is punting, but let's not stop there. We threw in coaches too, just for fun. It's at the very top. Coaches, it is just straight win or loss. That's it. If the coach wins the game, you get 10 points. If they lose, you don't get anything.
So,
Now, does 10 points crack a starting lineup in these? Sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially if you are if you like drafting guys that get hurt, 10 points is absolutely helpful to your team, especially like John said before. For a large part of this league, having a very good team isn't necessarily important. You can survive half of this season by having mediocre, just getting by, and then maybe you hit a hot streak at the end and that's how you win. But being able to live through a couple of injuries by getting 10 points from a coach is absolutely going to be helpful to you at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you can't win with nothing but coaches because, I mean, they're only going to get 10 points. So they don't have an upside, but they do have a pretty solid floor, especially if you get a coach that wins on a pretty good
Andy
basis.
Reid and you're going to be pretty good.
I mean, he's going to get 13, 14 wins probably. So that's a nice little 10-point bonus. And if they don't crack the lineup with 10 points, that means the rest of your lineup did very well. Yep. So these leagues are all set up where everybody drafts 16 players. It is an 18-team league, 16 players. We include kicker, defense, punter, and coaches. It still gets very thin at the end of these. 18 teams drafting 16 players. 8 players will start each week from you. It's best ball. So you don't determine that. The website determines that, which is very nice. They just take your best 8 scorers each week. And that is your starting lineup for the week. There are no positional requirements, so you don't have to have any position starting. The only limit comes from quarterback. So as you can see from what Russ just pulled out up nicely and quickly, very efficient. Good job, host.
Without any warnings or
no prompting at all. The only real limit is quarterbacks. You cannot have more than 3 quarterbacks in your starting lineup. 3. So that's like, triflex or whatever you want to call it. Quarterbacks are going to be valuable in this 18-team league, but it's one of those things like, since it's an 18-team league, even if I go to 2 quarterbacks, which 2 is, you have to have at least 2 because starting 1 is just boring. So once you go to 2, there's only 32 NFL teams. So you're already hitting to the point where like not everybody's going to get 2.
Yep.
So might as well just really make it hard and make it so you can go to 3 and then nobody's coming close. Like nobody's going to be able to have 3, right? I mean, right?
I mean, short
there
of
will be.
Leagues letting it happen is what it comes down to.
Yep. I mean, every single backup quarterback will probably get drafted in these leagues. That's pretty common. Again, it gets really, really thin towards the end.
Yeah.
So you're taking anybody and you're like, well, maybe that guy gets a starting job at some point. Maybe there's an injury. Maybe they play 1 week. Maybe they get signed off the street by the Detroit Lions because Derek Blau or whatever has started for them multiple times, I think, over the past couple of years. So you end up seeing a lot of stuff in these leagues, which is fun. So no real positional requirements except for the limitation of 3 quarterbacks.
All right. So I know your feelings on snake drafts in the first place. And
the devil. Snake is the devil.
Metaphorically, yes. But also, you at least you found something to throw in there that it might not be unique anymore, but it's at least something that makes you feel a little better.
Yep, we do all these 3rd round reversal, which means it goes from 1 to 18, and then it goes 18 to 1, and then it goes 18 to 1 again, and then it snakes from there. So if you have that very first pick in the draft and you get to take Patrick Mahomes, congratulations. Or maybe you take Josh Allen. I'm not going to argue, like whatever. We don't know the ADP yet for these. There will be ADP. Kevin O'Brien, FF Engineer, always does an ADP for the Eliminators and puts it on his site, which is very fun to watch. But congratulations, you got Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen to start off. Now you're also going to get pick 36, and you're not going to get pick 37 as a bonus reward because you already got Mahomes. So you're going to get pick 1, pick 36, and then what is it, 54 coming back, I believe?
Do not ask me.
I believe 18 times 3 would be 54. So from there it snakes. So if you're at the very back end, that sucks. If your first pick is number 18 in the draft, you have lost out on a lot of options.
Yes.
But you do get picked 19, and then you get picked 37. So while you lose out at the beginning, you do get a little bit of a makeup. Again, 3RR, it's not a perfect solution because it's still not fair. It's still weighted towards the top end, but it's better than just a straight snake draft. And these are fun drafts. Most of them are drafts. So everybody understands what's going on.
If you join the trade addicts, you can trade in the draft also.
Correct. Somebody still has an unfair advantage of what value they got at the beginning of the draft, but whatever. That was randomly assigned.
Yes, that was
what you could join. You know what you could join are some other unique ones like auction or blind bid ones. Then everybody truly has the exact same starting point, and it's so much better.
If you've never had anxiety before, which first of all, congratulations. But second of all, you join the blind bid eliminator and you will find out what it's like to have anxiety trying to do a blind bid draft. I did it once and I will never do it again. Let me just put it that way.
It is awesome. It is horrible and awesome. We should explain what it is. So the entire startup of it is blind bid.
It's waivers.
It's waivers. Every day there will be, usually I do like 20 players. Every day there's a specific 20 players that you can just put through waivers. So you have no idea what anybody else is going to bid. Everybody has a same set amount of starting like blind bid money, and you just put your bid in. And then every day waivers run, those 20 players are assigned. And then you do it again for another 20 players, and then again for another 20 players. And yes, it is disheartening when you win a player and you realize that you spent like twice what the next bid would have been, because people make sure they let you know.
Oh, I will. Yep.
They make sure they let you know. Whoa, my max was 100 and you paid 200. Okay, well, I got the player. I always try to take solace in that. Or you miss by like $1. And you're like, oh, I was so close to being the perfect bid, and I didn't get the player. So you're really, I know I'm selling this to make it sound real fun. No, it actually is fun.
It really, really is. It is absolutely, first of all, something new, something different from anything you've ever done before. But it is also, it's a lot of fun. And again, like a lot of the reason we got into fantasy football in the first place, in the very, very first place, was to make fun of each other. You have a group of friends, you wanted something to gather around and just tease each other about. This brings that back a little bit because like John said before, you'd be like, oh man, you spent like $87 on that, dude. I think I was the highest at like 20. So it is absolutely just so much fun. First of all, in strategy itself, but again, that chat will probably be so entertaining.
Yeah, all the chats are very entertaining, but yeah, that one definitely. As soon as the waivers run, you see it light up. There are definite responses and opinions on everything in that particular one. And that's one that I host because it is done a little bit later into it. We should probably say May 11th is the date that signups go live. Some of the leagues will fill up and probably be drafting on May 11th, maybe May 12th. But there will be several that fill up that day. Mine, I always start just a little bit later because I need a little bit of time to get through some things. And then we start the things like the auction and the blind bid and stuff like that. Open Bar has an auction one too.
Yes.
So that's always fun. They do theirs. That's J Mike and Gabe, of course. Let's see. You said you have trading, which that is correct. You have trading. Shane Manila has trading. He also Shane and the other guys from Dynasty HQ, Jeremy and Sipes. They also do one with trading where they all three manage together.
And then we have other Shane.
Yep. And then you're talking about the rookie ones.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Rookie Fever hosts rookie only. Those are just draft, but they are rookie only. So that's always interesting.
I did that once. I did very poorly.
I mean, that's really just, I don't see how that could be. That is very, very interesting.
Interesting. Yes. That's a word we're using a lot today.
But it is fun because, rookies are fun And it's really about hitting on your probably second and third picks in that. The fourth, fifth, and sixth picks, you're lucky if they
you're hoping they get on the field. You will hit zeros, a lot of zeros. Yeah.
But if you can get like 2 or 3 productive rookies, if you get 3, you probably win. If you manage to hit 2 rookies that actually produce every week, you're probably in pretty good shape. Those aren't a full 18 team. Those only have 10 people in them. And each roster is only going to be 6 this year. So a total of 60 rookies drafted, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
that's a 5-round rookie draft in a 12-team league. Think about who's there in the third. You're looking at who's there in the 5th. So there's going to be a lot of rookies that get picked for him that you've probably never heard of. They will get cut from their NFL teams. They won't play. You won't see any production from them. But again, it's a unique spin, and that's the point. So a lot of these, a lot of little unique eliminators have sprung up over the years. For the first couple of years, we didn't really do anything unique because I didn't want to have to add in things. But then once I got support and I got help with running all of the standard ones, can't say basic because they sure as hell are not basic ones. Once the standard ones kind of are taken care of by others, it allowed me to then accept some of these unique leagues. These are what people suggested to me. So that was awesome. Other people wanting to come in and put their own unique spin on to something like this. We do have a running back only one for some of our running backs haters, Eric Belair and Kevin Topinski. They hate running backs. Obviously, they are wide receiver only, wide receiver. So they do one where it's running backs only. That is the only position that can be drafted. It is a full eliminator based only on running backs. There are no other positions involved. So that's always fun to make them have to choose running backs. Oh yeah, it would have to be the worst. I have zero interest in running backs either, but I think we hit all the unique ones then. Oh, there's college too. No IDP this year. There's been IDP in the past, but Peter Gant ran those, thankfully, because I had nothing to do with IDP. But he's unfortunately had to step away from doing it because time constraints. So there will be no IDP this year. There will be college again. I think it was last year college got added. Dwight Peebles runs those. So he'll take signups for college eliminators and basically do a Fantasy Cares Eliminators with college players, which is always interesting as well.
All right. And MFL updated a little bit and made life a little easier, especially for people that aren't myfantasyleague.com users. Right now, up at the top of the screen, you see it just says draft/auction. And I'm going to talk to you drafting people because that's going to be 99%. If you want to see the draft board, you hit draft results. Of course, there's not going to be anything here because we haven't set up a draft yet. But this here, when you go for draft/auction to draft results, it'll show you the draft board, who's been drafted, who's next. And when it's your turn to make a pick, you just make a draft pick. And again, not set up, but you'll see right over here is going to be a giant box with all the players you can draft. You click one, you hit draft. That's a day. That's it. So nice and easy, a lot less buttons to click. I know that is always a little bit of a
you can
thing.
Select that franchise and it'll still show that.
Oh yeah. Nope.
Wait.
Because the draft
that's right. We don't set the draft dates until yes, that's correct. We don't set the draft dates until the league is full.
Yep.
We don't want it to go off early. Go back to the homepage though, because if you go to the homepage, you can do all of this literally from the homepage.
Like, right over
there, you'll see the draft status. You'll see recent draft picks. You'll see your roster of draft picks below that. That is literally everything you need. And then you'll see the scoreboard as well. Like everything you need to be involved in these is all right there on the homepage on My Fantasy League. Every league will have basically the same exact setup, except for the unique leagues. They will, of course, have a little bit different twist on them. But every league should look just like this, where all you have to do is look at the draft status, and you'll know exactly where the draft is. You can make your draft pick right from there. And then you'll see the standings. That's it.
Let's get to the important part. How do you sign up?
You can go to fantasycares.org, and you'll see contests and sign up for contests. Right now, we have nothing active because we are prepping to put up Fantasy Cares Eliminators, but you will see a sign up here. And on there, you will then see a drop down of every single celebrity. I think when it kicks off, there's going to be like 125 active and taking signups. You can sign up for as many as you want, play in as many as you want. Please donate for everyone that you play in. That is, of course, appreciated. We do have one guy who said he wants to play in about 100 of them this year. I was like, oh my gosh. He did. He played in like 70 last year, which is nuts.
I remember when I played in like 15 and it was just like, all right, I don't know what am I doing? I don't even know anymore.
They're so much fun though. They really are fun. And the signups, they will probably fill quickly. I think last year they all filled in maybe like 2 to 3 weeks total.
And then you have a couple of people who are willing to do more. I know Rocky and I did. There was one year we did 3 because we were able to fill, so we just kept going.
Oh yeah. There are several people: Heath Cummings, Ryan McDowell, JJ Zacharyson. They all say just keep filling them, and so did Tagliere. Again, he was hugely supportive, so very awesome of him. But yes, they basically just say just keep filling mine. So as soon as one of theirs fills up, another one goes back up. Then we have a lot of celebrities that do 2 of them at this point. That do multiples. They know that they can fill 2 of them pretty easily, and it's awesome that they give their time. And pretty much everybody is extremely interactive in the chats too. Yes. So I mean, not only are you getting to draft with folks, you're getting a conversation with them. And yes, the conversation always sways a little away from fantasy football in some chats, but other chats, it's very fantasy football focused. And you get an access level and a conversation that's just fun. I mean, I will say all of these celebrities are extremely giving of their time, which is great. Like I never would have expected the support that I get running this and having this go through, but everybody really is awesome. When Scott talks about how cool this community is, he's not lying. I mean, it truly is really, really cool. To watch. I'm of course in every chat because I have to have control over just in case somebody gets out of control or anything like that. But so I see all these, like I see the chats, and they are constantly buzzing during the drafts, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of people really enjoy it. Great place to ask questions, especially right now. I mean, we're going to have rookie drafts and rookie auctions going on today and for the next few weeks, probably for a lot of people. So a lot of people in there asking questions. You see trade questions constantly in them. You see trade questions in the middle of the year pop up. It's a place that a lot of people will go. Not only is the celebrity obviously well-versed because they're a fantasy football personality usually, some of them are actual celebrities like Tom Everett Scott and James Rodriguez, a couple of actors that are fantasy football players and have become supportive of it, and that's awesome. But everybody that plays in it too. These are degenerates. we are folks that are drafting best ball charity leagues in May. Yep. So usually you get some pretty good conversation. It's a great place to learn. I mean, really, you do get really good conversations in them.
All right. And when you're on this page already, you're here to sign up. You're here to select a contest. All you have to do is when you're yawning, you just stretch a little bit and, oh, look, that donate button is right there.
Oh, you'll be prompted to donate too. After you sign up, every single time you sign up, it should say, would you like to donate 1, 2, 5, 10, 25, whatever. Like, click that little $10 box or more or whatever. Whatever you can give, appreciate it. Click that box, donate. So make sure you have it. Sign up, donate. Sign up for as many as you want. Scott usually has a tracker then as well. Like if you go into your account, you'll be able to see all the leagues that you've signed up for. I will say in the first day or two, give us time. We do get overwhelmed in the first day or two, and it is a mad rush. So when things fill up, the process goes, leagues fill up. We create a DM for everybody that's going to be involved in that league. We put everybody into my fantasy league, enter in everybody's emails, everything like that. So make sure when you are signing up that you are using the email that you use for my fantasy league, because we send the invites, we randomize the draft order, and we start. it goes when it fills. Like that is as fast as we can go. In the first couple of days, it might take us a day or two to get to it. But usually once we get through that massive initial burst wave, usually it's within a day, like that same day. Most of the time when things fill, things start. So be ready, sign up, get ready to chat fantasy football, get ready to draft Fantasy Cares Eliminators.
Yeah, just to say it one more time. When you sign up, you're not going to get placed right away. Nothing happens whatsoever until that league is full, because I know there's a lot of times we get questions of, hey, I signed up for this, but I didn't get the invite. Did something go wrong? No, nothing went wrong.
We're just people.
Yeah, the league didn't fill yet, so we wait for it to be completely full before we go anywhere with it. So be a little patient. Give us a little patience. Be a little patient. Be a little patient. Be a little patient. Well, thank you, John, for all of this. This was very cool to learn. Very cool to hear all the details. Very cool to see it as we go through it. Any parting shots before we head out?
Have fun, folks. This really did start as something for me to give back to my listeners as is something fun. And that's been carried all the way through it. And to be able to bring a charity element to it and then expand it through Fantasy Cares. And then, good Lord, what we've expanded Fantasy Cares to, like, just join in, jump in this, play in this. Get ready for SFB after this. I highly encourage playing in Fantasy Cares Eliminators, donating, being part of that community. Look, don't tell Scott, but everybody knows Scott looks for people that are involved, right? Like, he looks for people that are involved. Play in these, donate for these, play in these, have fun, talk about these on Twitter. Just participate. That is what Scott is looking for. If you're looking to get into SFB, is people that participate and help build the community and have fun in the community. These are an easy way to start doing that.
And speaking of, real quick, if you're watching this, give us a subscription, hit that subscribe button, as the YouTubers say. And you can get all of these little info videos, the other fun videos. We just yesterday posted a 12-team Superflex rookie mock draft, which was very informative and wonderfully entertaining, if I may say so myself. But also, you'll see right down here on the site, we have at fantasycares.org. That is pretty much every social media. We are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We have a Facebook page. I don't know what to do with Facebook, but it's there. And hey, we got a LinkedIn. Like that's how far we're going with this. So give us a follow everywhere you can, and we will keep going with all of these fun stuff as things come up, because it's Fantasy Cares Eliminator time. It's Scott Fishbowl time. It's the season time. And we're just going to keep them coming with the contests. So keep your eyes out, subscribe to everything, and we'll catch you next time.